Wait, who was that?
Oh, I saw him.
Look back.
If I look back, it's gonna be a whole can of worms.
I need to see his face. That's the DA, Gil Colson.
And he's coming over. You happy?
Talk to him.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
I'm Gil.
Hey, aren't you the DA?
Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
I'm vengeance.
I have given a name to my pain. The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham. I'm Batman.
Welcome to episode number 76 of the Batman on Film Social Hour. I had to think, what show is this just for a second, because actually did. Here's Pete Verra, senior BF contributors here.
This is a Star Wars satellite show.
And it is not that, but we did do a satellite show this weekend.
We did.
On the Warner Brothers panel at Comic-Con where they
didn't bring out Henry Cavill and upset the entire world.
they really dropped the ball on that.
Fanboys crying out in the streets.
My grandma texted me and said, "Where was Henry Cavill?"
Yeah.
Mass hysteria.
Here's a
What's
quick
the plan,
editorial.
WB? What's the plan?
What's the plan? If anyone upset about the Cavill thing, go reevaluate where you got your information from. What was it? A website? Was
Deadline?
someone? No, because if you read the Deadline article, it was clear that it was just buzz. It said that it's buzz that he might appear.
Don't you know that the buzz means that the fans demand Henry Cavill?
What it means is that like every fan site took that Deadline article and then spun it as that Cavill was going to show up. It was like confirmed, and the Warner Brothers will announce more Superman. Okay, and then once you do that, wherever you got your news from, don't follow those people. Don't go to their websites anymore. Period. And if you piss off a Deadline, then don't go to Deadline. Okay.
There's Variety. There's Hollywood Reporter. There's The Wrap.
All right. So
there's other trades.
Jesus, fucking.
I still trust Deadline.
Okay, I Pete, you're trying to get me on a tangent here, and I will not get on.
I would never try to do such a thing.
I am not.
That's not what I do.
I am going to stick to what we're supposed to do here. I am Bill Ramey. I'm the founder of Batman on Film. This is the Batman on Film Social Hour, and we are continuing with our series titled The Batman Chapter by Chapter. We are on Chapter 5. Ryan Lauer, senior BOF contributor, is here. Ryan, how are you?
Hello.
How's your grandma?
Great.
Is she okay? She's got over the Cavill.
She is
thing, right? Okay.
Yeah. She started watching some of his other movies, and she's all right. She calmed down.
Okay.
It's okay, Grandma.
Was she upset that every single possible Warner Brothers DC film production was not shown at Comic-Con? I know that they wanted
What's
to have
the plan, Warner Brothers?
Yeah, she said that Walter Hamada needed to get fired. Walter Hamada and Toby Emmerich, Jeff
Toby
Johns,
Emmerich is fired, Ryan.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
What's the plan, Zaslav?
Yeah.
What's the plan?
Pretty much.
Okay. Here's another tangent. Go away, tangent. Not today.
The Batman.
All right. So we're on.
Wait, what about the Batman 2?
There's another one. Okay. If you actually thought that there was going to be Batman, the Batman 2, the Batman sequel news, or some sort of presentation for it at San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend, you are out of your mind.
This is the segment of the show where Bill crushes hopes and dreams.
And living in an unrealistic world. Okay. They just announced at Comic-Con, or I'm sorry, they just announced at CinemaCon, back in April, with Matt Reeves. They brought Matt Reeves to Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace and had him come on stage and announce that the Batman was getting a sequel. That's all the news there is.
Is that the plan, Warner Brothers?
That's the plan, Warner Brothers. Oh God.
Pew, pew,
Okay.
pew. Think about Gumbo.
All right.
Think about Gumbo.
Chapter 5 of the Batman. And I am glad that Ryan came up with a great title for this, because I was having a hard time.
Matt Reeves came up with it. I mean, I can't take the credit. Matt Reeves came up with it.
Well, he wrote the line.
Ryan just plagiarized it.
No, he texted me and he said, "Hey, name chapter 5 of chapter by chapter this title." I said,
Ryan,
yes,
here's the plan for Matt Reeves. Yeah. Here's the blueprint.
Yeah.
So I was like, what are we going to call this? Like, you're a real sweetheart, huh? I mean, I just couldn't. And then Ryan texted me. So what is it, Ryan? What is chapter 5? The title.
Hey, aren't you the DA?
Hey, aren't you the DA? Yes.
And it's quite fitting considering she's pretty much the main star of this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she is. I will say since I'm doing this, focusing on the film by chapter, I'm like taking note. How many is another scene? Batman has been in every scene so far, including this one. There has been some sort of detective work in every scene so far, including this one. Mm-hmm. But I will agree that Zoe, as Selena, is the focus of this chapter, which Pete brought it up. I agree. Ryan, you concur?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. So starts off, we're at the morgue, Gotham City morgue. And Batman and Gordon are there. And they are doing what, boys?
Checking out Pete Savage's corpse.
Detective. They are. Commissioner Savage, as we found out in chapter 4, he was the second victim of the Riddler. And killed him at the gym, because he liked to work out late at night when no one was around. Mm-hmm. According to Jim Gordon.
Something I didn't really, I do like, because just by going chapter by chapter, this is technically my 9th viewing of the movie, going this chapter by chapter. And I hadn't really thought about it before, but the fact of how, I don't know if it's Batman or Gordon that says there's a needle mark on his neck.
Mm-hmm.
Rat poison.
Mm-hmm.
And just the thought of, like, I don't know, now with rat and everything and knowing what's coming, I don't know, it hit me differently thinking this time. I'm like, oh, look at that rat. Like, rat is a common, through line of the whole movie. Anything having to do with rat. Granted, maybe, for how we see how he's going to be, he chose rat poison for a reason, right?
Yes.
Like, absolutely chose rat poison and not another.
Thing. You're going. We'll get there, but that's brought up. He injects him with arsenic, which is rat poisoning. He puts this rat trap maze, or I say he put some kind of contraption that was a maze. Batman, that's a maze, and had rats in it, and that's. They don't get into the specifics, of what the rats did, but I imagine
they were quite hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't
So-
really, they don't show you.
We don't see it either.
You don't see
It's very Scarface, right?
body.
Like they show you, you know what happens. You know he's in pain, but they don't show you. Like you hear him yell. It's like it's like the chainsaw scene in Scarface.
It's
You don't need
more.
to see it.
You know
but you
that
know it's
it
there.
was. It was horrific, just based on mainly with Gordon reacting
Mhm.
to seeing the commissioner's body.
Well, that and actually later on, like when they show it to Penguin, he goes, "Oh, what are you showing me?"
Yeah,
You know, like,
well, that too.
like
Yeah.
it's definitely not pretty. His face is.
Come
I
on,
imagine there's
open
quite
your
a few claw
eyes.
marks and bite marks, and there's probably a tooth lodged in there,
Yeah.
somebody's cheek.
So Batman notices more symbols. There's another cipher. Pictures are released, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Riddler releases pictures with Savage and a drug dealer to the
Mhm.
public. Same thing, the same way, I guess. How you release the pictures of the mayor. So he's showing Gotham, the citizens. Here's the
The
mayor.
truth.
Look, yeah, the truth. Look at him. Here he is with this girl at the 44 below or the Iceberg Lounge, and then now the mayor is with a drug dealer. Batman knows the drug dealer. Pushes drops on the East End.
And I like how it does seem like a quick, almost kind of a defensive response of Gordon when Batman says to him, maybe he's not who you thought
Yeah,
he was.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does seem like that bothers Gordon like a little bit.
Well, you think you
Uh,
know people,
Yeah.
yeah.
especially someone who is essentially his partner.
Well, we know that they were partners at one point. We learned that in this, what the hell's going on here? That's
What's going on here? Oh God.
He's giving Gordon slack to work with Batman. And we had talked about this, Pete, and the other one is that, Batman, here he is with the cops in that previous scenes at the mayor, the mayor's
Mhm.
crime scene. And Batman is there with the cop. It's like, and the, commissioner shows up. What the hell is going on here? But he has, they're letting Batman do his thing, even though he's a goddamn vigilante, because he's no threat to them yet. And they're doing things that they don't really, he's probably a little bit of a help,
Yeah, I wonder
Certainly.
like how much respect Batman has within the police department ranks. Like
I don't know how much, well, he has
I
Gordon's
wonder if-
respect.
he has Gordon's respect, but I'm wondering like he could be there. Does anyone really take him seriously? I'm just curious within the police department, what is that perception?
He's no threat to them
Yeah.
yet. Now this scene we're talking about, we're starting to get there. Because Batman says, we sees the pictures, he's with this pusher, and Gordon's like dumbfounded.
Mm.
Why, we took down Maroney together, and he's, that was part of the drops thing, and he's, he's on the take here with this dealer, and Batman's looks like he got greedy, and that's where maybe he wasn't what you thought. And Gordon, y'all think? I think like you said, Ryan, that Gordon is kind of put off by Batman saying that, but he's also having to deal with the reality that Batman's probably right.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a bit of that in there as well?
For sure. Because he rebounds.
so.
It's not like they end the scene as clashing, or they don't even clash or anything. It's just, I think he gives a quick defensive response.
Yeah.
And then Batman responds, and then it's kind of like they're a little back to normal. It's just the one line, but
It's like you make it sound like he deserved it.
Mhm.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
What Batman says, or Gordon says to Batman. You make it, and he was a cop, got greedy,
Mhm.
and Gordon,
Hey,
and Gordon is having to come to terms with that. He was a cop, he crossed the line. Gordon doesn't cross the line. That Batman says later at the
He's not
very
corrupt.
toward the end, you
Mhm.
know, you're a good cop. Tells Gordon at the, before he
Mhm.
goes, once they have captured the Riddler. I will note that the scene, we're still talking about this scene, but the scene after, well, we can get to that. I just want to say that the cut Joker scene with Batman and Arkham would come after this. This would be the next scene in the film if they had left it in there. We can talk about that at the end.
The card.
Yeah.
This time, the message.
Yes.
Follow the maze to find the rat. Bring him into the light, and you'll find where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know in watching this the first time, like how much this one would be referenced, and in a sense, the big moment that this connects to.
Well, is he also there's hinted at, which you are the originator or the original person that I know of who told me about it. Well, you see the Riddler over on across the street, overlooking Iceberg Lounge.
That's right. It's my proud moment, my proud discovery of the Batman on second viewing.
But when
I like how
saw
Batman's the only person who's able to find these letters, to be honest. It seems like the police aren't able to find them. Like Batman always knows where the button is to release the letter.
That's because he's Batman. That's
the detective in him.
When you say, how does Batman find that? Well, because he's Batman.
He's Batman. Goddamn Batman.
Yeah.
And again, we're like, he's still, this is the fifth scene in a row in the film, fifth chapter. He is doing detective work. I also did like the fact Martinez is guarding the door for Gordon and Batman. So, this is the second time we've seen him. The first time was like, whoa.
He's coming around.
Does it surprise you that they went with an original character here as opposed to dipping into ones we know like Montoya or Bullock?
No, he's like John Blake. He's an original character.
I mean, he's original character. He's kind of like what was Ramirez in The Dark Knight, huh? I mean, you could have went with Montoya in The Dark Knight just as easily. But I like, hey, maybe he starts showing up in the comic books.
We'll see.
His first panel is him waving a big smile.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Wayne.
Yeah. And Bruce Wayne goes, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I did like the fact that subtle, and Pete's right. I took it as, Martinez also, and I kind of just thought of this, kind of like he is on the, that he's not on the take. He's a good cop as well. Gordon trusts him to say, hey, stand out there at the door.
Look out.
And me and Batman are coming in here and let us know when anyone else, the doctors or the coroners or whoever's, in the morgue coming back. So then we're the star of this chapter. We are next at Selena Kyle's apartment. And I really like the exchange between Batman and
this isn't Selena's apartment, though, is it?
No, this is somewhere else because the windows all broken up and everything. Yeah, I don't know where they are. I think they're in front of. I think because of
it's by railroad. I mean, by the train
tracks.
Okay,
you're right.
Lounge.
Okay,
yeah, that's what I thought.
It's somewhere where Batman. Yes,
it's some abandoned building.
He's got some like mini satellite bat cave because he's got like
his shortwave radio and contact lens.
This is the watchtower.
So he is giving her a pair of the contact lens cameras because he's sending her covertly undercover into the Iceberg Lounge, or the
44 below.
the real club, the club under the club within the club. So, and we would have known. Anyway, I'll wait. It's because there's also another scene involved with this that was cut from the film. It was the Selena penguin. But so we see her, she goes. But anyway, we got to go back. I like the fact that, I mean, Batman, she is just, he's a little cold, you know?
Yeah, she
And
said so
she's-
as well.
Yeah, she's like, boy, you're a real sweetheart, you know?
You don't care what happens to me in there.
Yeah, he's, you know,
Promise-
he
Promise
says, look at,
yeah.
look at me, look at me. And you think, and I even, you know, you thought for a second he was going to say, don't worry,
Yeah.
I'll take care of you. You're going to be safe. He's just like, looks good. You know,
That got my theater on the the first couple of viewings for sure. And then that's kind of like what we've seen so far with this Batman in the matter of fact and speaking.
Yeah.
That we've seen so far in the chapters. I mean, the one that stands out is when he goes to the Iceberg Lounge, he's like gonna get blood all over that suit. Mine or yours. At the first crime scene, how he just interjects and interrupts them with the answer of the riddle, and you know, like that. And it's and this is kind of that too. It's like, but he's proving that he's hearing and absorbing everything, but his reaction is like, look at me, looks good.
Yeah.
On the
And
go.
she does a great
Perfect.
job. Zoe just, when he says, look at me, she looks at him like, okay, maybe he does care a little bit. And he's, you know, and then it's like, looks good. And then she just, you know, just her expression changes. Very, you know, it's good acting there.
I like so far with her as well, and even in that scene too, that she's not intimidated by him.
No,
which is
she's not
very
intimidated by anything. Everything
Yeah.
just seems very casual. She's just like
very true to the Selena Kyle character. It's like herself. Of like she can stand her ground.
Because like after look, you know, looks good. She just, you know, she rolls her eyes and you know, just yeah, it doesn't, not intimidated by it, but she is all about doing this because she's
looking for Annika.
She wants to know where her friend is. And
nobody pulls off a pink wig better than Zoe Kravitz.
No. So that's where she gets to the Iceberg Lounge.
We see Mackenzie again.
And that's where we would have the cut scene that's in between her and the penguin, how she gets the access card to the 44 below.
I approve of that cut.
Yeah, I didn't think, I've never thought, even anytime I've seen it, that, well, how did she get the access card? I mean, I thought, to me, it was like she always had it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I didn't need to see her.
I like the scene with her and the penguin. It shows a little different side of him, but I with you, I see why you cut that out.
I don't know if I want to see a different side of Penguin.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with
Well,
you.
it's a good point.
I like when she's going in. I can remember in the theater in the first viewing being in IMAX and how that sound just comes in when you're seeing through her lens and you hear Batman talking.
Yeah.
Like, man, I can kind of imagine that now. And I loved that. I thought that was really, really cool. Because it's another case of like, no, he's not in the scene, but he's in the scene.
Yes. And he is, and they're cut. They show him, and there's quick cuts back to him. She sees Kinsey. He's guarding the door, you know, with the broke nose, and you know, and Batman makes note. He goes, I must have broke his nose, you know, that he was that's the guy at the I got into it with at the like last time I was here, basically, you know, must have broke his nose. And he's also, like you say, Ron, he's directing her, you know, tells her, don't look away, look at these people.
Yeah,
I got to
he's
make
gotta
ID. I got to
with
ID them.
technology.
You know, I got to get ID each one of these people. And she's trying to avoid eye contact because, like, there's Gil Colson, you know,
Horn
with his
dog.
tongue looking at her, you know, like,
Oh,
yeah. What y'all think about how he played? Who was that?
Skarsgård, Peter Skarsgård.
Yeah, Peter Sarsgaard. How he played Colson.
Oh, it was fun. It was interesting. You know, seeing a public official just drugged out and spewing all his dark secrets. You know, like it's kind of no surprise that this guy ended up biting the bullet with his big mouth because he can't keep his mouth shut. So, you know, I thought it was interesting. You know, and it seems like he would be susceptible to, you know, taking some money under the table.
And he just, he's like, with this Riddler out there, I got a lot on my mind, and you know, and all this, and
He's got a lot on his mind because he can't keep his mouth shut.
you want one? I'm good. You know, she said she offers her these, you know, those drops, and Batman. Another he's wasted, and she's like, no shit. She's back in.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
this girl.
Yeah.
I like this girl.
Yeah.
I think he plays him great. Exactly what you kind of, and then I mean, there's range to him too, as we see, you know, in the next chapter, of how he plays him. But here, the wasted life is good, but he's starting to get on edge. But yeah, and like, I don't know if I'd say like skeezy, but kind of, as we learn that he too is like someone, I mean, you kind of get a glimpse of, he is what the mayor was like in 44 Below. At least that's how I took it too. Family man, but yet look at the shady side. And I mean, we see the picture of him with Annika, so you just kind of think, I don't know, I see the DA. This is how the mayor was. This is how all these corrupted people are acting.
Well, Batman makes note of, you know, that's half the DA's office. You know,
I'm really glad that they cut to his face too, because I know we just see, again, importance of eyes, but there's just with that, and then his mouth of, and I know this is like really looking into it, but it's just like his delivery of that is like genuine surprise of discovering, like, holy shit, that's half the DA's office down here in this club doing drops.
Yeah. And we also learned,
good.
thanks to the drops, and probably thanks to the drops, and Selena doing her thing with him as far as egging him on. We get an idea. We first learned of the rat and how Maroney was taken down, and we don't know who it is yet. But we know we're starting to find out more of what the big thing was. What does he say? He said, you know, if he knows what we did, or if he knows what we are, and he's going to burn the city, will, you know, come unglued, or burn the whatever. I forget the exact. I didn't write down the exact quote, but so Batman now is knowing there's some serious ass people in Gotham involved with all this.
Yeah. And
it has something to do with taking down Maroney. So I thought it was a great scene. Then she notices the girl get up, and she's like, well, you know her. Where is she? You know, wanting to know
how quick she kind of snaps into. So it is, as you see that, like, yeah, no shit, I like this girl. Yeah, I like you too. What's this about a rat? And blah, blah. I don't want to talk. And then that other woman, I don't want to talk about this. That's what got that other girl killed.
That Russian girl killed.
And then how quick she just snaps out of that flirty acting performance, and is like, what do you know about that? Just jumps on it. And I'm
good point.
It's
went to the streets real quick.
Yeah, just like, it's really good. it's really good, and wastes no time. And that's like the whole links back to, and how she gets up to follow her. And I mean, and how I said not intimidated by the DA, or by DA, by Batman, because he even says, no, stay on the DA. And she said, I told you I'm only in this for my friend.
Mhm.
Only here to find my friend. Like, I don't care who you think you are, Batman, all that stuff.
Yeah, strong,
this is my
independent woman.
mission.
Yeah.
That's Selena Kyle.
Yeah. Great point. And that's when we see Falcone for the first time walking in with the Penguin.
And you meet someone who does intimidate her because she stops in her tracks.
Yes.
And she looks like she's scared shitless.
Mm-hmm.
He knows, well, Batman through that exchange, Falcone she knows him, or he knows her. Doesn't know how, right? What y'all's interpretation of that? He doesn't know that she's his daughter at that point, right?
No, but they do have some sort of, like he says, the relationship. Like he can sense it. There was something, the way Falcone talks to her and told her to stick around. It wasn't like she was one of these other girls. You could tell that Selena meant something to him. Now, it's still like up for interpretation, I think, whether he knows she's his daughter or not. Because at certain points in the movie, I feel like he does know. And then at the end, when she's like, hey, Dad, he kind of looks a little shocked.
Yeah, he's like, huh?
Yeah. But I don't know if that's also just him, he's still, adrenaline's rushing because he knows he's in for it. Like he's in for a legal battle, right? Like he knows, the jig is up essentially. So you don't really, it's hard to tell his emotions in that scene particularly. But here you could tell like there's something special about Selena to him. That's how I took it. Like I think he knows it's his daughter. I'm sure he also knows all the girl he sleeps around with as well. Like he keeps them close.
The Batman fan in me, I know they're probably going this route, right? That he's, he's her father. How does, with the general audience, just the regular person watching it, how is Matt Reeves, how do they want us to interpret that?
I don't think the father-daughter connection, I almost feel like, I don't know. I mean, it's left up to, that's a good question to ask somebody.
I almost got,
no idea.
Yeah, I took it as like, he thinks she's hot,
Yeah, something like that, because I mean, Pete's not wrong either at all, and how he has a special like link to this one. And I don't think that has anything to do with he's the father. There's something with her that he, I don't know, seeks her out and even said, like, I haven't seen you in a while or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's filmed great in the sense of we only see him through the contact lens in which he's half covered in like shadow.
Yeah.
And so it just helps create this version of Falcone, the powerful figure and the scary figure, and how he touches her cheek. It made me think of Bane and the "Do you feel in charge?" Just putting like the one hand touch on the shoulder, and it made me think of that. And she does. And Pete, I'm glad you said that. Of no, she's not. She's a strong, independent woman. She's not intimidated by Batman, but look at she's intimidated by this guy for some reason. So there's something I think yes, we all know so much about this character, but a lot of the audience only knows Falcone from Batman Begins, It definitely is creating a mystery about this guy, and he's trouble. This is uncomfortable. Don't know why it's uncomfortable yet. This guy's not. This is a shady dude. Yeah.
So when this scene, and then pretty much, Selena bolts out. She takes out the contact lenses, and Batman's like, no.
Yeah.
But she keeps them. She doesn't just like get rid of them, because we know that later on she's going to use them to contact Batman. Batman asks about Falcone. She doesn't. Batman's take was like, how do you know him? And it's like,
I think Batman thought there was some kind of romantic relationship.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's probably what Reeves wants the audience to think. You don't want, because that's kind of a big deal when she reveals that, that she tells Batman, he's my father. imagine not knowing that from the comic books.
Well, to be honest, it didn't really click. I didn't think they were going to go this route until she actually said it. It didn't really pop in my head like, okay, they're going to go with the whole, Catwoman when in Rome angle of, Selena being, the illegitimate child of Mr. Falcone. So when they did do that, I was actually I was pleasantly surprised when she says, he's my father. So when I saw this scene for the first time, I just figured, oh, that's Carmine. Big bad Carmine Falcone. Show him respect. Don't raise your voice in his club. Don't cause a scene in his presence. Like there are more important things going on here than you. And we're going to get Mr. Falcone to where he wants to go. So I just, when I first saw the scene, I just interpreted it as big bad mafioso.
Were you, Ryan, were you thinking, okay, she's going to end up being his daughter?
Yeah.
Right from this moment?
Not from this moment. I just had, I think it's the next chapter. There were leaks on the funeral scene, images and stuff. And when Zoe Kravitz was wearing,
you looked at leaks. Right?
I didn't try to, no, but we deal in this space. We end up seeing pictures.
I'm an expert muter. I do not deal with the same issues.
But it showed her in the garb that she's her name Carla or something in the funeral scene. We think it's Selena, and it's not. She turns around. I think it was well done that Reeves purposely had Selena dress up in that outfit, but that picture came out and it looked like Selena in Dark Victory at the Falcone gravesite. And I just I was like, oh shit, I think, and I expected and waited for it. So even this scene being uncomfortable, my head, it was already decided that that's his daughter, and it's going to come to light as something.
And this is because we're fans. We're fans. We know the story from When in Rome, and the whole Long Halloween saga. But hell, and even throw in year one. But it's going to be, I think, as just a regular audience member, not knowing that even was a possibility, they probably assume that there's some sort of, he thinks she's hot, he may be one of his girls, or she may be one of his girls, and then you pull that later toward the get toward the end, and he's Batman is assuming it. He's almost like accusing her of of it, and she's like, he's my father. That's a big deal. But I get it. I'm with Pete also, is that there's a little bit of like, well, maybe they're going that route, that she was just had some sort of relationship other than him being her dad. So, and that's pretty much how this ends. Batman is well on the road to starting to put together. This is much more than just a serial killer on the loose, randomly picking people. He's picking people on purpose.
Yeah, he has motive and an agenda.
Yes.
I love this scene personally. I'm really glad we talked about it, because I think it shows a side of Batman that we don't really, just the tech side. Like, it's every once in a while in a Batman movie, we'll see Batman use tech, but not like we have throughout this film. And they did some creative things. I thought those contact lenses were so Batman. I thought it was a brilliant thing. I really did. I like the creativity they did there, because we see them more than once throughout the movie, and it's kind of cool to see an important piece of his arsenal in use like that, and on various people, and just seeing how it shows you, the way he sets things up, his equipment and stuff like that. It's like the subtle details about that. Like, as a Batman fan, I appreciate it. And, like, how many times have we said this might be like the most comic accurate Batman film ever? And again, this is one of those moments.
Okay. Because you don't know like in the beginning, when he gets back after the crime scene with the mayor, he goes back to the Batcave and he takes them out. That's when you first see that he had contact lenses, and then they were actually cameras.
Yeah.
With Selena, you see what Batman sees when he's wearing them. How it has technology, he can identify, faces, has facial.
It's
facial
cool how he
recognition.
could do that in real time and kind of like in post production, for lack of a better term. Like he could take them off and watch it, or if it's his sidekick, he can see it in real time. He can ID these people.
I like, and just
I thought it was very interesting.
You see what Batman would see through her, when he wears them. I think it was cool. I thought the whole thing was cool. So
I wonder if that technology actually exists. That's part of it too. Like you think about it, like, is this real, or like did they literally just think about this they're sitting around coffee one day? Like
it's not a stretch to think it's possible, right?
I don't know. I wish I knew somebody in the military who could give me a heads up.
Yeah,
I imagine they would know.
That goes to Scott Snyder. Come up with that idea, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That showed up in the New 52, in which, I mean, again, I don't know if it really exists, but yeah, the contact lenses were in a Snyder's Batman.
Does this guy read, or does this guy read? Like, let's be honest. Like, there's so many polls. The guy put in his homework. I really appreciate that.
Well, before we go, let's talk real briefly about where the 2 deleted scenes would fit. And I think they fit perfectly in the deleted scene section of the special features. To be honest with you, I don't miss them, especially the Penguin scene. I've never seen it. I don't want to see a softer side of Penguin. I kind of like the fact. I just don't need. I need him to be ruthless. I don't need him to have another side.
Yeah.
Even if something as good as Pain and Prejudice, like me and Lauer did a review of that for the Batman Book Club, it does show a softer side of Oswald, but sometimes you don't want that.
It was you and Garrett on BOF.
Was it you? Oh, I'm sorry. I just assumed Batman books.
Come on.
I assume it's you.
How dare you?
Wow,
Garrett's going to be mad.
Yeah, he should be.
It is. So it would have been Morgue with Gordon, Joker at Arkham, with Selina doing the covert or setting her up for it. Penguin Selina once she gets to the Iceberg Lounge, and then the Coulson 44 below, Coulson running his mouth.
You could still do that if you want at home. Like you can pause,
have you done it?
Go to the deleted scene and put Joker scene and watch it, and then continue the movie, and then go to the Penguin deleted scene. I have not done it. So, the option's there that you can do it if you want to. And I think that does make this movie different in the sense of what we've seen before. And it is like the comics, and you have Batman jumping like through these, the rogues gallery, basically weaving in and out of them, and in a movie. And that's really cool. But for the story itself and for the movie itself and the pacing and all that stuff, I think I don't miss them not being in the movie.
I think they made I think Reeves and company made a good editing decision with that.
And this isn't an original idea on my part, but you go to the well too often. If Batman's going to Arkham to talk to all these prisoners, we've seen it before 45 minutes ago. You don't need to.
It makes him going to Arkham to face the Riddler at the end way more impactful.
Yep.
We don't know if Batman's ever been to Arkham.
Yeah.
When he goes there, So that's where I stand, even though I like watching both scenes separately.
Sure.
I may give it a go. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I like how 70s this Batman is, because he just goes places as Batman. He's just walking, like, you ever read those old 70s comics? Batman just sometimes walks down the streets doing patrol. Like, it was a different time, but like, he's just walking into Arkham, just walks into the police department, walks to the Iceberg Lounge. Batman's just walking around Gotham City a lot. And I kind of dig that. I like that Batman's out there. Like, there's something to be said about the urban legend type Batman that we saw in the Nolan trilogy, and maybe kind of in the Snyderverse, it seemed that he's a little bit more out there, right? Like, people seem to know about the Justice League, but here, Batman's out in the public view. Like, they're seeing him at the end of the movie. He's helping people get in lifts and everything. He's not hiding in the shadows. Like, Batman has a presence.
He is the shadows.
He's He has the shadows. He doesn't have to hide behind them. But you know, like
They-
he's
they-
almost
they-
everywhere. And people
they
say
think
about
he's-
that throughout the film. Like
They
they're
think he's
afraid of him
hiding in the
everywhere.
shadows, but he is the shadows.
Shadows.
You're
Yeah.
spot
I think
on
we get the
there,
best
Lauer.
of we get the best of both of that because the
Yeah.
movie at the beginning shows the paranoia of the ones doing wrong.
Yeah.
And then we also do get what you just said, Pete, of he's showing up at the murder scenes, he's in the morgue, he's in Arkham and stuff. So to me, yeah, I like that we are getting,
because
both.
those scenes, when you're looking at it from the criminal's point of view, you know, you're just waiting for him to walk out. He just walks out in various points of the film, you know, especially that subway scene. Like, you know, you hear them. It's almost like spurs, and then
It's-
here he is. He just walks right out.
Lauer and I talked about that quite a bit, the Spurs
Yeah.
thing. It's like when it comes to solving the crime,
Mhm.
he's going to do whatever he has to do.
Yeah.
If that means going into Arkham, if that means walking in the damn iceberg, you know, that whole part of we need a warrant to get in there. And you know, yeah.
I love
You know,
that
and
part.
they both know exactly what
Yeah.
what's going to
Gordon
happen.
needs the warrant. Batman doesn't
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah.
But I like that because he wants to make a difference. You could say that he wants to have an impact on people. He wants people to know he is out there. He's not hiding.
Yeah.
As much as he says he is the shadows, he's very out in the open. And I think that's important
Well,
because you need people to be afraid of him. If
he
he's an
says-
urban legend, there's
Yes.
kind of like that disbelief. Like, is he real? No,
he
he's
thinks,
real.
yeah, he thinks they think I'm hiding in the shadows.
Yeah.
They think I am, but I am the
It's
shadows. Which
brilliant.
means
It's
they can pop out
brilliant.
anywhere. Yes.
It really
All
is.
right. Well, I'm on a roll here because I've loved every scene so far, every chapter. That's probably because I love this damn movie. So, but I really love, I've said it before, I'll say it, probably say it on every show. I really enjoyed watching this,
Mhm.
focusing on just that chapter. And because I'll watch it 3 times before we discuss it,
Yes.
you know, and it's,
I'm gonna make it really hard for you to rank them at the end of this, huh?
yeah, that's going to be a hell of a show. Huh? Pete, we're ranking all 18 chapters.
It's gonna be the longest podcast Bill's ever done.
And explaining, and not only that, we're going to explain why.
There's no
we
way he
ranked
gets
it at that
if this
position.
show goes over an hour, I'm sending an email.
Well, speaking of that, let's plug. So, well, Ryan, I always let you go first when Pete Verra.
Oh yeah, because Pete's the professional. Yeah. You can check out all of my reviews and interviews and posts up on Batman on Film proper. Let's see, most recent. Yeah, I think most recent writing was the beginning of July, the Batman 125 by Chip Zdarsky and Jorge Jimenez. That it starts a new era on that book. The next review of that should be next week. Next issue of that. You can also follow my podcast, The Batman Book Club, on Twitter at The Batman BC. Bill also posts all those episodes up on BOF proper. Most recent drop was with Javi Trujillo, and we covered A Death in the Family. And then the next episode will be me and Peter Verra here, Mr. Boudin Pockets, talking about Batman comics in July. So keep an eye out for that. So just keep going to BatmanOnFilm.com.
You can follow me on social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Zack Snyder's favorite social media app, Vero, at Pete Illustrated. You can follow Podcast on One's news-based podcast like co-host Eric Holzman, at Straight Outta Gotham, at straight_O_G. We'll have a new episode dropping this week. You can follow podcast number 2, the Italian Spider-Man Coalition podcast that I co-host with Nicholas and Nico Caruso. That'll have another episode dropping this week at Italians for Spidey, at Team Yellow Oval. That's fun stuff there. I'm all over Batman on Film proper with reviews and toy reviews and interviews and stuff. I'll have a review for Detective Comics up this week. So I got a lot of stuff going on this week. Hit me up all over there. And, I'm sorry if you're a bot. I'm just sorry you're a bot.
Well,
Hey, did you smoke any meats this weekend?
No, I put away my overlogged comic books so that I can,
Yeah. You're Comic Con at home.
yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Comic-Con at home.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
spent it in my basement organizing my own comic books that I've neglected for half a year.
Before I plug a couple things, I will have to tell you a story, Ryan,
Okay.
because I thought it was awesome. It took place Saturday when I thought I went to the barber shop and at the same time and all the comic the Warner Brothers panel was going on.
They're talking about Henry Cavill, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought, all right, I'll just I texted you. I texted about 4 of y'all, and I said, hey, anybody want to jump on just a short? We'll do a little podcast, just a quick, immediate reaction to the 2 trailers. And Pete calls me and says, have you seen it yet? I said, I haven't seen anything yet. He goes, me either. He said, I'm running down here to the corner, pick up a couple slices of pizza, and then I'm heading back home. And I went, that's the most Jersey thing I've ever heard in my life. Just walk down to the corner.
I'm baffled that you've never said that yourself. I say that once a week. Right down the corner for a slice.
It was awesome.
I live in like there's DuSal's, there's Sansone's, and there's Brunswick Pizza. And it's like I'm in the middle. So the fact that you guys don't, I don't know, like to me, that's just commonplace. There's pizzerias everywhere around here. So
when I lived in Chicago, I actually got to do that. It was about
you can't do that in Indiana?
4 minute walk. No, like to just, well, you probably drove, didn't you? Or did you really walk down to the corner?
I drove. I mean, there is one within walking distance, but I drove.
No, there's pizza here in Indiana, sure. But in like Chicago, it was, I'm hungry. Let's go get some pizza. And you would walk like 4 minutes and buy the slice. They're just like, they're just popping them out of the oven and putting them up on the rack in the heater. And you're just like, yeah, I want that. I want that sausage. And then, nice big ass slice of pizza.
And then we do the show. And then I look at him, I was like, well, to be honest, I didn't actually finish my lunch. Here's my slice of sausage. And he's like, why didn't you put that on the show? People would love that.
Yeah. That would have been, that would have been.
That could have been the cover. The cover image.
I had no idea
podcast
was
a slice of pizza.
Tell you right now, if that would have happened, it would have been the cover of that satellite show. All right,
noted for next
Batman
time.
Film loves pizza. It was Little Caesars, pizzerias. They love pizza over there.
I'll start doing. Yeah, they'll start. That pizza will be yours. Pizza, and I'll start doing like pictures of showing my cereal with the can of Mountain Dew next to it.
The closest pizza place is probably a mile from me, so I could drive there quickly. And it's actually called New York style pizza.
I wonder how bad it is.
I've had it before. It's the guy is a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Who opened up a New York pizzeria.
They say it's the water. Like I know a lot of places have water shipped over to them, which is
I've heard that. Anyway, okay.
Well, real quick, what's your pizza topping, Bill?
Me?
Yeah.
I like experimenting with pizza, so I like the different, like I like a barbecue pizza. I like regular, just pepper. And probably if I'm gonna get one thing, pepperoni. Okay. I mean, if I'm just gonna get a slice, probably pepperoni. But
Pete,
it depends on my mood.
Really? But okay, right now your mood. Just go. Pizza. What do you want?
Mushroom slice.
Okay, I'm a sausage.
Okay.
Maybe you know what? The next time we're all down in Texas, Bill, make a boudin pizza.
I'm going to tell you something. Okay.
I need that.
We actually made pizza last night at home. All right. Okay. I make my own crust.
I expect that.
Okay. I did a half and half of mine. I did a Tex-Mex pizza, which is you use salsa instead of pizza sauce. I made my own pizza sauce too. I have to get Pete to try it. It's the Rayo's marinara recipe. Yeah. Okay. So I did the Tex-Mex and salsa, fajita chicken, onion, and like pepper jack cheese. And then the other one I did we made a regular one. Then I did barbecue chicken. So it would be
Nice.
barbecue sauce, chicken, smoked chicken,
Mhm.
red onion, and then just regular mozzarella.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'd eat that.
So that'll do it for this cooking show here
Yeah.
on Batman on Film. Anyway, all right, all these shows that you heard about are part of the Batman Podcast Network. Just go to Batman on Film, the website, find the logo or the drop down box. You'll see the Batman Podcast Network. Check out all those shows. If you want to advertise on Batman on Film, go to advertisecast.com. It's advertisecast.com/Batman on Film. And help keep Batman on Film going if you like what all of us do here. Patreon.com, patreon.com/Batman on Film. Now, so Rachel will take us out. Thank you both for coming on and talking pizza today.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Good times.
I think I had the raw video where Pete pulls out that pizza.
Maybe.
If I do, I'm gonna have to cut that.
Oh wow.
Maybe.
Put it in the interwebs. It's awesome.
times.
It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. That and I did not see it, but I heard many a story of Boudin pulled out of pockets.
Boudin pockets.
Yeah.
Highlight.
Out of
All
a
right.
paper towel.
We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the BOF Social Hour, Jett's official vlog and podcast on Batman on Film. Follow Jett on Twitter @Batman on Film. Follow the BOF newsfeed on Twitter @The Batman on Film. For Jett and everyone at BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original, Batman on Film, established in 1998.